Well, we're going to be cooking a 1.3 kilo chicken in a moment, and these are the vegetables, just potatoes and carrots, nothing complicated. I've got this because it's a sort of chopped up chili in oil and it's far too hot to eat, so that's what I'm going to be using it for. And this is one baking tray. The other one will be for the chicken because there just isn't enough in the way of space. But I've tried it, I can't fit the chicken in as well. So I'm going to make a mixture to put all these in before I lay them in there. Pepper. This is, can you see? It's just chilies and garlic, but it doesn't taste garlicky and it's far too hot to use, as they say, on pasta. So I'm just going to add this to that, and that's quite enough for all those vegetables there. Now, I'm adding thyme because thyme is going to be the main theme of the chicken. I'm adding a little bit of salt, just a little bit. No. I'm going to add this one because Paul says he prefers it. And that's really not very much salt. Okay, that's all there is to this. It's really not very difficult. So I'm just popping everything in. And if you cut things at slight angles, they just lay better in the pan. See? Now, when I do my roast, I don't want everything to take up vast amounts of olive oil, but I don't want it to stick either. So I'm going to oil that and I'm going to mix this. But I really don't want things to be taking up vast amounts of fat as the traditional roast does. That's not what I'm aiming for. So these are potatoes and they will taste very nice like this. Very nice indeed. I suppose if you were to cut them much smaller and lay them out, you could make sort of little nibbly things out of them. But this is just for roast potatoes for this particular meal. Now, as you can see, I've got the lemons. And I will be using that to make something rather nice happen. Okay. The carrots will fit alongside the chicken, so that's not a problem. Now, these carrots, I'm going to cut them in that sort of size, simply because when they go on the plate they look a bit nicer. If you get a great big chunk, you won't like it very much. If you cut them much smaller, they'll burn. So this one got away. Now I'm going to take some of this. I'm going to add a little bit of a sharpness to it, just a little bit. I'm going to add pepper, but I haven't added as much of a bold flavour of this to the carrots because they are more delicate, okay? But there is enough flavour in here to roll them in for them to be quite happy. Can you see this has really got a lot on and this has got a little on? But potatoes are quite bland and they'll stand up to it. But the carrots are much more delicate. Now I'm going to add a bit more of this. to go in here. So I'm going to move these away, and I'm going to put some oil on the base. And I'm going to put these in. Now, I'm leaving room for the chicken. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to do is get ready the things to go in the chicken. Okay, so I'll come back when I've actually taken off the thin rind of these. Let me just show you. What I'm aiming for is really no white. No white at all. Can you see I've left the white behind? And that's going to take me a little while, so I'll come back to you when I've done it. All right? Right, as you can see, I've chopped off the peel of basically all of it. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is take the chicken. I do not like these bits of elastic. They are extremely dangerous when I try and do anything with the chicken once it gets hot and hot fat, and then they spring and oh dear, dear, dear. So I find it best to get rid of it before I have an accident. Okay, so I'm going to just put that in the bin. Now, there's something I always do. Crack it there. Now what happens is it will lay flatter. I'm going to roast it upside down in the way I usually do, but what I want to do with this is to put some of these inside. Okay, this one I'm going to put a little bit over the top and then put it inside. As it cooks, the smell will do something. Right, now we've got olive oil, we have the thyme, okay, it's not that difficult, is it? Now I'm going to poke something underneath to make the breast taste, because otherwise the skin tastes great, but Paul doesn't like the skin and he does like the breast. So I'm taking these and I'm popping them in. Now I would say to anyone who's going to use this recipe, be careful about where you get your lemons from, because some of them are covered in chemicals for storage. They've also got insecticides and all sorts of rubbish all over them. Try to get something that's organic and non-treated like these. Okay, now by doing this, what we're going to do, oh, I forgot the garlic. I always forget something, don't I? Never mind, it happens. My friends will tell me to write a list. Well, I did, but I left it behind, so that wasn't much use, was it? Never mind. Now I'm putting all these in so the whole thing will get perfumed with this incredibly nice smelly flavour. Okay, now on the back, this will be at the top, so I'm going to put some underneath the armpits. I'm going to put it absolutely everywhere, in the leg joints and here and here. Right, and I'm going to put a little piece on the base. Now, the one thing I forgot was the garlic. So these are very nice chickens. We try to buy a chicken that's been fed on corn, and you can tell because they're a yellow colour. I don't particularly go for these free range, jump about, having done my gymnastics chickens, because I really want something that's tender. And I find that my family and children generally prefer those. But for the flavour, it does matter what they eat. And you can tell even industrial raised chickens will taste so much better if they've been given a corn diet. Now again, I'm going to go back And I'm going to poke some of this under the skin. The reason I'm not putting too much of this inside is because it does get a bit bitty in the mouth. So I don't really want too much of that. Now I'm going to put this like this here. I'm going to turn it over, and maybe I can stick it in these little holes here. So let's just lift this up, put it down. I've got a few more bits here I can add, and then we're just going to pop it into the oven, and it's very straightforward. As you can see, because it's lower, it will cook more evenly. When they make them compressed like that and raised, what you end up with is a chicken that cooks quite unevenly with the breast raised. I always think it's a stupid thing to do, because you actually, if you kind of have it the other way up, the breast will be in the hot air far more than the back of the chicken, and that's just what you don't want. You want the chicken to stay moist, very moist, for the breast meat. And Paul really likes very moist breast meat, don't you, Poppet? Right, there you are. These have got to go in, and I'll leave Paul to put them in. So, although these two are actually quite close together, it is better to have the space above the chicken. Otherwise it gets too close to the little hot pieces and does something horrible. It's on 175 fan for about an hour and a quarter, an hour and a half. I'll come back after an hour and a quarter and I'll have a look at it. And what I probably will do is take this chicken out and move those up. Leave the chicken for probably 5-10 minutes, and if they haven't browned, then we will brown them later. It's a compromise. This isn't quite a big enough oven for me, but never mind. Okay, magic moment. I'm very hungry, so that's good. It's had an hour and a quarter, I believe. And I should think that's plenty. Look. This is beautifully done. Hold on, I'll bring it up. Look at that. It smells pretty good, doesn't it? And here's the roast potatoes. They didn't need to be parboiled and rolled in fat and all that sort of stuff. They come out really, really nice. They've got a crunchy outside, and they don't... They're just healthier, that's all. I think perhaps I should just open this up to show you. Normally I would let it sit. Should I just let it sit? Okay. I'll come back to it. I would like you to see the other side though, because Paul likes it. He doesn't eat the skins. There's no worry about making it crispy, but I do, and it is crispy. But this is for Paul. Let's just open it up, shall we? So you can see. It's very, very moist. And these little pieces of lemon have imparted their flavour, and we will turn it back so the juices continue to run into it, and we will leave it for 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and serve it. 5 minutes is quite important because it's a protein, and proteins, when you heat them, contract like squeezing a sponge. All the liquid goes, right? It didn't go because we've got a skin on that, and we've tried to keep it in. You cut it, it's still squeezing. If it cools just slightly, it relaxes and it's no longer squashing all the juice out, and that's how you keep it very, very moist. If I were keeping this for a picnic, I would now cover the whole thing, and that way again you preserve the liquid inside it, keeping all the moisture in. Okay, very simple. And I did turn it off. Absolutely brilliant. Now these, I just want to show you these because I do like my, can you hear? They're crispy. They're crispy. And look at the insides. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Soft and fluffy on the inside, crispy on the outside, and they're not all full of fat, but they have got all this lovely flavouring. I mean, look, every one of them. It's been crisped up nicely. You see? You cannot argue that these are not really good potatoes. And we didn't parboil, we didn't do all of that very difficult fiddly stuff where you get splashed and hurt. I just like my cooking very simple and always to work. See you next time.